Big Willie. We got to talk about Big Willie. Oh, man. This is something. It's only been a week. Isn't that crazy? It's only been a week. SNL, the guy hosting it last night, touched on that. It feels like it happened when we were in high school. Man, only 7 days tonight. I'm late to the party talking about it, but no, I can't make videos quick enough to keep up with things. Also, this is an R&R episode. You may have noticed there was no picture at the beginning. That's because my project editor is currently tied up, pun intended, with episode 299. 8 weeks into the project now. It will be coming soon, or I will have to make modifications to it. I'm done with this. Learning experience for sure. This is the last time a KK project will ever take longer than 3 weeks. I promise you, I'm never going through this again. I have learned as I went, and I kind of have learned now that there is a way to figure out the copyright settings if I do a little test experiment that may take a couple days in the beginning. If I spend maybe 2 days working on test experiments, I can figure out the copyright settings before I really go into the project, which is something I didn't really know how to do before. I've kind of figured it out though as I went that I can do that. So that's going to help greatly moving forward. And it also helps when there are no claim settings, which episode 300 doesn't have, and neither do at least 7 of the 20 KK Olympic episodes. So this will not always be a problem. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Big Willie. Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here. There is a lot to unpack. Uh, and, so wrestling fans, when they saw it, and I'm going to use some wrestling terms in this video. If you don't know what they are, I apologize. I'll try and explain them. People who are wrestling fans saw this and probably had their own separate reaction to it. Obviously, this video, this R&R episode here was supposed to be about cancel culture. I think I may have mentioned that in the Scream review. However, that's going to get pushed to the next one. It'll probably be cancel culture and conspiracy culture, which is something we obviously live in right now. You can use all Ks on all those. But no, I wanted to talk about this Will Smith Chris Rock incident first because this is, at the heart of some of these things, cancel culture and conspiracy culture, starting with the conspiracy culture, because probably a lot of pro wrestling fans and a lot of people, as soon as this happened, it was, oh, this is fake. This was staged. This is an act. You know, the Illuminati's in on it. Who knows what the hell? I mean, this is crazy stuff. We live in this conspiracy culture where you can't walk down the street without it being for a higher motive. There's always something going on behind the scenes. And this is coming from someone who watches hours of the X-Files every night on Comet TV. Um, but I understand it's fiction. I get the difference, and some people can't separate that. I don't know what the obsession is with the conspiracies. I think there's a lot of people that just like to feel like they know something more than you do. So it's fun to like conspiracy theories because, oh, look what I know that you don't know. That's kind of what I feel is at the heart of a lot of the conspiracy shit. People just wanting to feel smart, even if it doesn't make any sense, even if they have no evidence, no proof. And obviously, there's different kinds of conspiracy theories. JFK, that's a little different because there's a video of it. And that was a different time when being a conspiracy theorist was not trendy. I mean, you can watch the video if you know anything about physics. It's kind of hard to see how there was only to say, oh, there's only one shooter when you see bullets enter through different paths. That's a little bit different. But these days, pretty much anything that happens, and a lot of it is politically charged. If something happens that is against you politically, then you suddenly become a conspiracy theorist. There is no a lot of people equate these things, cancel cultures and conspiracy culture, if you will, into like one political party and the other here in the United States. But really, they cross bridges. They cross over both. There is no political party exclusiveness to either one of these things. And I apologize if you live outside of the United States. I'm not familiar with international politics, and we have people from many different countries. So I don't know the politics of your individual countries you live in, and you probably aren't all that familiar with the United States as much either. So I apologize for that. But no, I mean, so there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. Was this a work brother, or was this a shoot brother, or a work shoot brother, or a shoot work brother? No, we don't know, brother. Uh, no, we do know. This was real. This was not staged. This is not a conspiracy. This, and there's ways to know this if you use your common sense. Okay, so when I first saw it, I thought it looked a little weird that it looked like Chris Rock kind of put his arms behind his back and stuck his face out like he was ready to take a slap. That did kind of stick out at me, and I think a lot of people saw that, and it looked weird. Um, Jim, I haven't listened to that many people talk about this situation. I did listen to Jim Cornette talk about it with his co-host, and he may mention that too. That it looked like Chris Rock was sticking his head out to take the bump, if you will, in pro wrestling terms. Uh, One thing that may have happened there that we don't know about, because Will Smith was not mic'd up, something that may have happened as he was walking up there, he may have actually said to Chris Rock, I'm going to slap you, or something like that. And that's why Chris Rock stuck his face, but we couldn't hear it. That's definitely possible. He might have said that, like seriously, he was going to hit him and Chris Rock thought he was joking. We don't know because we couldn't hear what was going on. So if you think that because he stuck his face out, that means it's a conspiracy, I wouldn't go that far. There could be other reasons he did that. But regardless of that, you know this isn't fake, okay? Because if it was to be fake and people are saying, oh, Chris Rock is selling more stand-up tickets than he ever has now, that may be true. The problem with that is Chris Rock wasn't the one who initiated this. Yes, he told a joke, but he didn't know Will Smith was going to get up and come hit him and he was going to start selling more comedy show tickets. Like, that's not how this works. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined Will Smith come up and do that to him. So, no, this is not a work. And this is definitely real. And you know that again because the person who did it, Will Smith, is not reaping any rewards from this. He is one of our regular contributors here already sent me an article showing that it looks like Bad Boys 4 has already been canceled, or at least canceled for now. Sorry, but Will was going to make a lot of money off of Bad Boys 4, and now he's not making anything from it. So there was nothing in it for Will Smith to do this. This is no conspiracy. Um, and the big debate, when this happened, and I, the big people are asking and talking about, was he right? Who was right? Was Will Smith right to defend his wife? Was Chris, so I'm not going to speak about who's right or wrong here because I don't really even think that's a valid question, being right or being wrong. It's not really up to me to judge uh, what Will Smith does morally, if it was morally right for him to defend his wife and hit Chris Rock, um, or should Chris Rock not have made the sensitive joke about hair loss, which I don't really think he was doing. I'm not going to talk about who's right or who's wrong. I am, however, going to talk about who's smart and who's stupid. I think that can definitely be talked about. And Will Smith's pretty stupid for doing this. I mean, this was not a smart decision at all. And I want to talk about like what I think might have happened with this. I think there's one thing we know. It showed, if you were watching live, which I was not, I saw it after. You see Chris Rock tell the joke. The camera cuts to Will and Jada, and you can see Jada is upset. You can see Will laughing hysterically. So this may have been live television, but just like with pro wrestling, live television isn't really live. There is like a 15-second delay, 30-second delay, where the camera people are pulling the strings and changing the cameras and putting bleeping stuff out, putting stuff on TV, putting stuff on your television. They're arranging it, all the camera people working. The WWE has that big truck. They call the production truck where everyone on the production team is at pulling the strings on the cameras. So we are to assume that Chris Rock told the joke, and then the camera cuts over to those two, and that this is flowing live, if you will. We're to assume that's what happened, that this was not a clip from earlier in the night of Will Smith laughing, because Jada looks noticeably upset. So we have to assume this was live. So, but when you see Will, he's not upset. He's laughing. And people are saying like, oh, he looked over at Jada and saw she was upset, and then he jumped up real quick. I'd love to see it. That's what we're missing here. We're missing a straight, just nonstop shot of Will the whole time. I'd love to see him the whole time and then watch him like face to face with the camera, stand up and walk up to the stage. I'd love to see what he did. It doesn't show it. I haven't seen any angles of this. Maybe you've seen something where you could actually follow Will the whole time up to the stage, but I haven't seen it. I don't know what happened here. I think my theory on this, I guess, and I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. I think it's just a common sense theory. There's no conspiracy here. I think that Will Smith went into this night believing he was going to win the Oscar, believing he was untouchable, really having a God complex coming into this, that he was, as Roman Reigns would say, he was in God mode, that he can do no wrong. So his thought was, and I think the camera caught him laughing at Chris Rock, which he didn't know that. He didn't know the camera had caught him laughing at Chris Rock. I think after that camera shifted off of him, he got this light bulb in his head where he was like, oh shit, I'm getting an Oscar for being King Richard, the Williams sisters' dad. He's not a king. I guess that's a nickname. I don't know. I haven't followed the story. But I'm playing Richard Williams, the protector of his daughters. Oh shit, I can run up there and stand up for my wife, a woman, and I'm going to look like the hero. I think in his mind that, and Jim Cornette and his host, I think his host said it best. Well, Jim Cornette first, he said, whether this was a work or a shoot, it was poorly executed either way. It doesn't really matter if it was real or fake. It was very poorly executed. And his co-host said that I think this was a one-man angle. An angle in pro wrestling is like a storyline. You're working an angle with somebody. He said, I think this was a one-man angle. I think Will Smith in his head just created his own little storyline he was going to make. I think he's got a good point. I think Will thought in the heat of the moment, oh shit, I'm just going to become this hero of the woman. And he thought, I think when he sat down, I think when he yelled that profanity out, which is where he really went wrong. That's the thing. He could have slapped Chris Rock, went back to his seat and started laughing and told a joke. And Chris Rock at first seemed to be kind of laughing about it. It's like, Will Smith smacked the shit out of me. He wasn't angry. Like, Will could have taken that moment and turned it into something positive, and I think people would have laughed. It was when he yelled the profanity that it went wrong, and you knew it was real. I think in Will's mind, he thought, okay, I'm going to yell this profanity out, and as soon as I say that, everyone's going to start cheering for me. He thought that when he yelled that out, that the arena was going to break out, the auditorium, wherever they were at, was going to break out in applause because he stood up for a woman. And we live in this, cancel culture era as well. And with the Me Too movement from a few years ago, and all these sexual assault claims and things, I think he thought he could capitalize on protecting a woman because of the era we live in. And he was going to get this just massive ovation for hitting Chris Rock. I really do. And then he realized very quickly that people were just appalled and absolutely scared to death of what this guy was doing, that he had went off the rails, and it blew up in his face. And then he gets up there and he realizes what he's done, that he just took his night where he thought he was untouchable, where he was going to win the most prestigious award that any serious actor tries to win. and he totally botched his night because he thought he was going to like further himself by making this abrupt decision to hit somebody. And if you did want to like take this another route, possibly, let's say I'm wrong about that. Let's say that Will Smith didn't just come up with this idea on the fly to make himself look good and it blew up in his face. Let's say, and one thing no one's really talked about that much that I have heard is what is the relationship between Will Smith and Chris Rock? That's something I think not many people are talking about that should be really looked into because I just have a hard time believing. And here's the thing. Will Smith is not a young man. He's in his 50s. This cannot be chalked up to, a young guy being immature. He's not the Fresh Prince anymore. He's an old king. He really is King Richard now. He ain't a prince anymore. He's old. No offense to the people watching this in their 50s. He's not really old. You know what I mean? He ain't young anymore. You know you're not young anymore. Hell, I'm 35. I don't feel that young anymore. This guy, he's been around a while, and here's the thing. So is Chris Rock. These guys came up together almost. Chris Rock's a couple years older than Will Smith. Will Smith's career started a few years before Chris Rock's. These guys have both had 30 plus year careers in show business. They both blew up together in the 90s. And we know how fake these Hollywood types are with their friends hanging out and stuff. Are you telling me that back in the 90s, Chris Rock and Will Smith never crossed paths? Do we know anything about these two? Are they friends? Will Smith doesn't hang out with Adam Sandler and Chris Farley and stuff in the 90s, as far as I know. You know, I don't know who Will Smith's friends are as far as celebrities are. Obviously, he did multiple movies with Martin Lawrence. Um, I guess that's kind of my point. If Martin Lawrence is up there and he cracks that joke, does Will Smith go up and hit him? I don't think so. And obviously, a lot of people made a joke. He hit Chris Rock, but if that was The Rock, as in Dwayne Johnson, Will Smith ain't going up there and trying to slap Dwayne Johnson. Obviously not. Will Smith get his ass kicked. And a lot of people were disappointed that Chris Rock didn't fight back. I think he was just too stunned. Just did, and maybe he's just a little more professional than that. That's interesting. But no, I would be curious to know what the actual relationship between Chris Rock and Will Smith is because you don't just hit anybody. I don't think he just hit a stranger. I think there probably may have been issues with them in the past that we don't know about. Maybe an issue with him and Jada that we don't know about. I think I had heard Jim Cornette on that podcast did mention that Chris Rock had said something about her before because she said she was going to boycott the Oscars a few years ago, and Chris Rock made a comment about that. Um, is it that Jada doesn't like Chris Rock? Did they have some kind of problem? We don't know. We don't know the personal relationship between Chris Rock and Will Smith's family. And like I said, these guys have been around a long time. They have certainly crossed paths before. And I don't know of them being friends. I don't know off the top of my head of any work they did together. Maybe you guys do. Any movies, anything from the 90s, 2000s. I don't think Chris Rock is in that many movies. I think he's done voiceover work. I think he was a voice in Toy Story. Um, I believe. Yeah, he's done a lot of voice work. He hasn't been in that many movies since the 90s. I don't think he does that much acting. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their relationship is. I just know that it was stupid. I'm not saying who's right and who's wrong, but it was a really bonehead move. Um, and if you watch the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech the other night, he said perception, his mental moves, that what you do matters, how people see you matters. And this was a boneheaded move from a person in their 50s. Again, sometimes these big elite types really believe they are untouchable. And he's Will Smith. He's the good guy. He doesn't curse in his rap songs. He's always the hero. How many times has Will Smith saved the world in his movies? King Richard is one of the ones where he didn't save the world. He's Independence Day, Men in Black. This guy has always been saving the world, and I think he really starts to believe his crap. That he's just untouchable. Obviously, he's not untouchable because he's looks like he's getting canceled. So, your conspiracy culture is just as bad as your cancel culture. Um, I touched on that briefly before. I guess that's going to be the next episode. But yeah, this was stupid. This was really dumb. SNL was great last night, though. They did a great job with it. Yeah, this is just dumb. But no. So next up, channel memberships. I got to start working on that. Once I get this $2.99 done, it's going to clear up a lot of things. I'm almost done with Forza Crowd, the first comic being re-released. I have not made the illustrations yet. That will take a little while, but the writing is almost done. These projects have sucked up so much time. I can't do this like this anymore. Like I had mentioned, I have to make some changes to the way I lay a project out, to the way I edit it. I just can't do this anymore. Copyright settings have gotten too tough, and yeah, it's just this was something else. But hopefully, it's done here soon, and I have begun the process of picking up live action again. That is something that we are looking to get into fairly soon. I had mentioned to you guys that we did film uh, in late 2020, so about a year and a half ago, probably less than that, less than a year and a half ago, we did film a project that was pretty much completed. I may have to fill in some holes, but I'm planning on editing that within the next couple months too and releasing that this summer. So you will have new live action this summer. And then filming something new as well is in the pipeline here too this summer. So that's exciting. Maybe some new talent. Obviously, I'd mentioned that Samantha has retired, but maybe some new talent to help Anna out. We will see how that goes. That is the plan, obviously. So that's what I got here. Think before you slap. Think before you make your move like that. Man, that was dumb. That's what I got. I will see you guys soon. Thank you.